Good morning everyone, it's Yvonne here from the Aussie Goddess to do you what's cracking for Tuesday the 4th of June. Firstly, a few people wrote to me yesterday about the videos on YouTube. I posted them yesterday morning and YouTube kept rejecting them. So they looked like they were sort of going through and then they would reject them and say unable to upload. So there was some sort of issue with YouTube yesterday. So I ended up putting up about 3 times I think, and eventually they came up. I think I ended up with 6 videos, double the 2 all up. So I was having a good chuckle about that this morning. But anyway, eventually they looked like they all went up, so which was really odd. So my apologies for that, although I don't really need to apologise for that. I guess it wasn't my problem, but I was a bit disappointed because people were writing to me and saying, there's no what's cracking this morning. And I was like, but I've put it up. And I was at work. I couldn't see to do it. So, you know, I'm all up for commenting on my channel. I don't have an issue with that. But if you're complaining or whining about something, fuck off, quite frankly, because I do this because I love it. If it's not going to suit you, or it doesn't fit with your ideal, or it isn't telling you what you want to hear, don't criticize me, please, because I hear other readers go, oh, I've given you a few chances. I'm a no chance person. Do the wrong thing, I'm just going to delete you. So entirely up to you. You might as well delete yourself. If you don't like me, you don't like what I've got to say, hard cheese. Okay, let's get on with your reading. I'm going to use the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot this morning. There's a huge shift in energy. I had a huge shift one day last week where I actually, every now and again when the universe shifts, I actually feel it physically, and it seems to always do it sort of in the early morning or sometimes at night, and it will wake me up. But this one happened when I was walking, and I've never had a shift like that before. There's some sort of shift that's happened in people's thinking, so I know what we've been going through is starting to really take effect. It's such a strange feeling, and it always takes me by surprise, but it just means so many people are moving at the same time, and it's a real blast. But this one happened, I was walking and I was by traffic lights, and I remember thinking, wow, that was a really strange feeling, and wondering what it was, and then realizing a little later that there'd been a huge shift in consciousness. So, which is what we want, people. Okay. 5 of Wands coming out. Now, the 5 of Wands talks of conflict. This can be conflict with others, so you could be in a bit of a conflicting time at the moment. I think I've said to you, I've moved my camera and everything, and it seems to be in a strange place. I can't get it in the right place anymore. But sometimes this can be about internal conflict. For me, it's the card of that shifting focus. You know, should I do this? Do I not do that? Why should I do this? Maybe I should do it for this reason. Like that sort of thinking. So trying to sort of make sense of what's going on and how you need to address it. Okay, so we do have a broken heart here. This is about some sort of pain and how you're managing that. I don't think it's like overthinking why it's happened. It's more overthinking where to from here. So that's the sort of feeling I get here. Yeah, there's been some sort of conflict. Look at this. You've walked away from something and become defensive over something that's caused you sleepless nights. Something from your past. But you're going forward now, which is what I want to see. As well, I always go back to the card I want to see here. You're moving forward now after something that's happened. You've let something go from your past that was causing you sleepless nights, which is really cool, because it was making you defensive, and perhaps you were fighting something that you didn't want to be fighting. The reason you're doing this is because you're making the decision about how to move on now after this issue, problem, whatever it happens to be. Okay, so we do have the 9 of Pentacles. Wow, that says to me many of you have walked away from something or someone without any doubt at all. Seeing this card come through so strongly here. You've found yourself on your own. You've either walked away from relationship situations that haven't been for your highest good. So well done. And that's why I said this, you know, this shift in our thinking, in our issues around codependency, clinging on, hanging on for things, trying to make things better, investing, trying to fix. None of those things work. If you know, what do they say? If the horse is dead, get off. This is what this is here. And you've made the decision to go it alone here. Beautiful, because this means you've learned self-love, which is what we are all here for. This feeling of loving yourself, of respecting who you are, of really understanding your place in the world. This is what brings in love, is loving yourself. A lot of people do have trouble doing that. I've got to say, I wasn't a fan of the whole love yourself thing when I was younger. I used to think people were a bit crazy, but I really do get that now. But it's taken me a lot of years to understand what loving yourself meant. And it's about not putting everybody else in front of yourself. You know, I remember writing that up or talking about that one day. I think it was before I came on the channel. And somebody said to me, but you have to put your children first. You know, sensible here. There is a place for loving yourself. It's not about putting anybody else in front of yourself. If you don't love yourself, you can't love your children properly. You can't love your children thoroughly. You can't love your children the way they're supposed to be loved. So loving yourself is that whole putting on the mask in the aeroplane so that you can help people. So when that mask drops down and they say you need to put yours on first, yes, that's exactly why. So loving your children is incredibly important. I love my children more than life itself, but I couldn't do that in a way that was really healthy for them unless I knew who I was. Okay, and look at the Empress coming out next. This is beautiful. This is all about you understanding who you are. The Empress is Mother Earth, Gaia. She's the woman that, or the person, doesn't necessarily have to be woman. She is the feminine energy, yes, but can be male or female. But this is the part of you that is nurturing and loving and kind. And this is the person you're stepping into at the moment. And looking out towards the future here. Beautiful. Rightio, so you're working on something. You may still be working on yourself because I can see a lot of you have been working on who you are here. So this is about that deeper understanding, the deeper investment you're making in yourself. 7 of Cups coming out here. Now, somebody said to me the other day, you know, about the amount of choices you have. And I remember thinking at the time, I guess because your focus, what they call it, your reticular activation system is not really on focus. So when somebody raises your awareness of something, all of a sudden it becomes very evident. So your reticular activating system, that's the one where, you know, you buy yourself a green car and then all of a sudden everybody seems to have a green car and you're like, that's really weird. Or, you know, somebody says to you, a lot of people are pregnant at the moment, and all of a sudden everybody looks pregnant. It's about your consciousness. And when someone said to me about having lots of choices, I remember thinking at the time, wow, I don't really have a lot of choices. And the universe has really shown me in the last few days after thinking that how many choices I actually have. So 7 of Swords here. So the 7 of Swords can sometimes talk about deceit or behavior that's not up to scratch. But in my experience, it very often means that you're not being truthful. You're not opening up. You're not telling people how you feel. You're withholding these thoughts and ideas. So maybe you have a fantastic idea for something, but you're not disclosing it. Maybe you're in love with someone, but you're not disclosing it. And this card sort of talks about how to disclose, because you're about to end out a cycle here. Okay, could be dealing with an air sign, Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius here. And it's about equal give and take. Okay, beautiful reading. You're learning your lessons here very, very well. You've walked away from something that hasn't served you here. Whatever that be, whether it's a situation, a person, a family member, a friend, a lover, something has shifted in your universe, your focus. You've realised that there's a lot of opportunities and you don't need to try and stick it out with one person who's quite possibly very cold and unyielding, unspoken, and you're moving on here. You're closing this out and you're moving forward because you want to put work into something that gives back to you. Very, very straightforward, direct reading here. But it's mostly about you gaining an understanding of your personal power of love for yourself. So it could be that you're just dealing with someone who doesn't feel the same way about you as you do about them, and you're walking away from them. We did have the Five of Swords at the beginning, so often that talks about like giving something up regardless of whether you love it or not, in order to find something that will love you back. Okay, let's have a look at these beautiful Les Vampire cards and pull one of those through. That one wants to, actually there's two here. Now the card of Maynard's come out again, and it talks about energy release, ecstatic ritual. I'll only read one. The other one is about transmission, spreading of conditions, influence and impact. So let's just read number 7. I'm learning these ones again too, so I only read the blessing. So you will have someone to travel with on the journey you're undertaking. There will be friendship, laughter, and the sharing of the experience. So maybe you're worried here that you don't have enough choice. You've walked away from something. Maybe you're not feeling you have the choice to move forward with someone, but they're saying there is someone for you here. So Maynard, it's safe for you to give feelings of intense bliss and happiness, even excitement. Feeling deeply and allowing yourself to be swept up in the rapture is a beautiful thing to experience at this time. It is safe to let this happen under the current circumstances. I guess what that's saying there is it doesn't matter what's happened, don't deny your feelings. You know, sometimes when we've given something up, we close off and we sort of close off from the world to protect ourselves. And that card, I guess, is saying to you, don't close off here. Keep yourself open, because there's obviously somebody else or something else right behind that with this 7 of Cups that will replace it or, you know, stand in its place. So there you go. There's your reading for Tuesday. Thanks, everyone.